Howdy, heretics! One of my subscribers came to visit me, and this is fun because she's from Poland, but she's living in Norway. And she started watching John Cedars, and she found out I exist, and we are neighbors. So,
That's how it is. So,
and she started studying when she was 13 years old. And did your parents know about that?
nope. They had no idea. They had no idea that I was studying. All began with that. I was 13 years old. I was visiting my aunt on holidays, like I used to do.
In Poland.
Yeah, in Poland. And she was interested in Jehovah's Witness. So one day she just decided to name that, the end is coming, the Armageddon is coming.
It's
And
a lovely topic of conversation.
yeah, with teenager.
Lovely topic of conversation with a 13-year-old girl
Yeah,
that's
family
staying with you
meeting.
for the summer. The world is ending and you're gonna die soon.
No, I remember I was really afraid of that. So one day she was coming to the meeting, like a book study.
Yep.
Yeah, it was book study. And she told me like, okay, you have a choice. You can like wait in the car or you can come with me to the meeting. So of course I said, okay, I'm not gonna wait in here for like 30 minutes. I'm just gonna go with you. And when we arrived, then I met a boy, which I really liked. And after the meeting, he asked me, do you want to study Bible? And I was like, oh yeah, I really want
Flirty
to.
fishing.
Yeah, I really want to study Bible, but I don't want to become a Jehovah's Witness. And he said, okay, that's totally fine. You don't have to become a Jehovah's Witness. We can just like meet and then like very
Study the Bible.
nice atmosphere. We can discuss the Bible so you can learn some new facts. And so it started. I was meeting with him and another boy who was an elder's son. And that's how summer went.
So you were visiting your aunt
Mm-hmm.
without your parents,
Yep.
and your aunt starts a Bible study with you, basically.
Yeah, almost. It wasn't her who was
Well,
studying
she
with.
motivates you with
Yeah.
Armageddon, and then you take you out for a ride and say you can choose. You can choose. They always say you can choose if you want to wait in the car or come inside and meet my friends.
Yep. And
Yeah, that's not really a choice.
I was really like, it was very nice. Like the people there, they like bombard you with love and kindness, and you feel like you're becoming a part of something. And as a teenager, you are seeking for being a part of something. So that's where I find my niche.
Yeah, and did they tell you, please tell your parents that we are starting a Bible study and
No,
recruiting
they
you into
did
a
not.
cult?
Actually, it was totally opposite. It's supposed to be our secret, mine
Yeah,
and my aunt's secrets.
this is our secret. We're studying the Bible with
Yeah,
a.
with a teenager. And as I was raised as a Catholic, and my parents were very religious all the time, and they were kind of pushing me to go to the church or and attending the masses. And if I said that I don't want to go, and one day or something, it was a huge like a mess. So, as a rebellious teenager, when somebody proposed you to change your religion, you think like, yeah, I can finally do something against my parents. I can rebel.
Yeah, and a love bombing and flirty fishing.
Yeah. So that was it. The summer ended. So the question was, what are we supposed to do now? And I remembered I had a colleague from elementary school who was Jehovah's Witness. So I contacted her actually, and for some moment of we were studying together. Her father was also an elder, I believe, and they were actually taking me for meetings
Yeah,
without my parents' knowledge.
still not parents knowing.
No.
Yeah,
Uh, but the village I lived at the time was very small, so I believe my parents started to notice that something is wrong, so they was limiting my hours I can go out. So, for example, to attend a meeting with the parents and that colleague I had, I would have to come back at 9 p.m. home. So my parents said, when I was saying that I'm coming to visit a friend, they were saying, yeah, but come back at 8. So they made it like kind of impossible for me to attend the meetings. So that's
It's really weird with a religion that claims to be a nice religion that they have. And I would have done the same when I was Jehovah Witness. Like, don't tell your parents. This is our secret. Uh, it's weird that because when Jehovah Witnesses do, they say you have to prepare you for persecution. So kind of undermine the parents. You know, if
the
anyone
bigger
tells you
good,
to take you away from Jehovah,
that
or
means they are like
yeah.
rolled by Satan.
So I know a lot of people that think that it's not. It seems like harmless. My kid is playing with the Jehovah Witnesses, and
They just reading
everyone's
the
nice, and
Bible.
it's.
Like, I'm Catholic, so if they
I,
read,
I know some said that the kids are still studying with the witnesses, and it said, well, all kids do crazy stuff, and Jesus is not as bad as cocaine. Well, the thing is with Jehovah Witnesses is, imagine if you have a kid that do cocaine, then
imagine that they studying with
yeah, and you
Jehovah's
go to the
Witness.
kid and say, I would like to talk to you about cocaine. Cocaine is a bad thing. Well, then the kid will listen to you. But Jehovah Witnesses, they start with that. If someone tells you, a parent or a sibling or anyone tells you to stop talking to Jehovah Witnesses, you should never ever talk to that person again. So in that sense, it's worse than a cocaine dealer because a cocaine dealer would not tell the kid that
Cocaine is
to
good if somebody
if
tells you.
someone tells you that cocaine is bad, you should never ever speak to that person again. That's the difference between cocaine and Jehovah Witnesses. Jehovah Witnesses will, and I know this because I'm a cult recruiter, will undermine you, all parents and family members from day one. So when you realize that there's a problem, my kid is going into a cult, you're in a catch-22 moment. You cannot tell her this is a cult.
Yeah, so that's exactly what happened when my parents started to noticing and tell me that but it's kind of cold. You shouldn't maybe like talk to those people and study Bible with them. They had some contact with Jehovah's Witnesses, so they knew that what's going on. That they trying to recruit me. So I was thinking exactly what Jonas is talking about. Like, yeah, they're trying to push me away from Jehovah. Like,
Yeah.
but coming back to the story. So when I couldn't attend the meetings, the parents of that girl helped me to find another sister which I could study with, and it was more in secret. I was attending a school which was in the city, so I had to travel there. So it was nothing suspicious when I was coming back a little bit later. I could just tell that I'm attending some, I don't know, cheerleaders club or whatever. And actually, I was studying with Bible with that girl. We finished the first book. What's the name? Like that yellow book, that's introductory book.
What do the Bible really teach?
Yeah, that one. And we started the more advanced one, and then she started to be more persistent. Like, oh my God, you need to start preparing to those meetings. You need to start to read Bible before, and I was treating it more like fun, like some. Yeah, I'm meeting a friend, and we just talk a little bit about Bible. We study a book, and that's cool. But then she was like, "Oh, you need to read those quotates before the meetings. You need to learn how to use the Bible. You need to learn which like part of the Bible is, etc." So I started to feel myself really uncomfortable, uh, and it just came the day I decided, like, yeah, like, thank you for all this like meetings we had, but I don't want to do it anymore. So she had a contact with me, and we didn't meet. but she tried to contact me afterwards a few times, but it was like a typical Jehovah's Witnesses messages. That she wants to come back, that she wants to like introduce me to Jehovah again, that he loves me, blah blah blah, and she wants to like rescue me, and so on, so on.
Mm.
But then I already told my parents what was going on. Like my dad replied to those messages, actually, not me, and he wasn't so delicate and nice as me. He was like very to the point, like, do not contact our daughter, please. She doesn't want that anymore. But I didn't have anything against Jehovah's Witnesses. I still don't have anything against people who are Jehovah's Witnesses, because I
No.
think they are like innocent. They've been manipulated into the stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not against people. I'm against the organization itself. So
The way we, because I used to be a witness, we behave like start a Bible study without the parents knowing, and then we undermine the parents from day one. Manipulating, taking them to, you can choose if you want to come up, you can wait in the car, it's your choice. And then when you were not allowed to go to a meeting from your parents, which is the legal guardians, they arranged a new secret Bible study that parents don't know. It's
a little bit
it is manipulative
sketchy
to do that, especially with the undermining of family members. If someone says anything negative about Jehovah, you should not listen to them. It's the voice of Satan.
Yeah, that's exactly like.
That's why people say that Jehovah Witnesses break up families, because that's actually what they do.
That actually was, in a way, a case in my family too, because it was a huge war between my aunt and my mom. My mom was like very angry about aunt becoming Jehovah's Witnesses, but when aunt decided to tell family that she's doing it, she was already so deep into that she didn't listen to any voice of
Reason.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She didn't listen to anything. So she is Jehovah's Witness to this day. I'm quite sure she's baptized, and she started indoctrinating my grandma into that. And she's
your grandma goes to Kingdom Hall meetings.
Yeah, she is. Not sure if she's baptized or not, because like when at this point they're trying to like go to those topics, I'm just cutting it. I don't want to talk about, because I know I'm just gonna get mad, and I don't want to create drama in the family. It already has enough drama and doesn't need any more. But yeah, like for a very very long time, my aunt and my grandmother didn't talk to my mom, and they were showing her as the bad one, because they don't do anything wrong.
Your aunt and your grandma did not talk to your mother.
Yes, because she was against what they're doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's shunning.
Sounds typical.
She's never been a witness.
No, she's never been a witness.
But they do have contact with you because you were a child and you never were baptized. And yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, at least that. But it was, I think, a lot of unnecessary drama, and it still like affects the family in a way that like when we have holidays or whatever, we cannot meet, or when there's like Mother's Day or Grandmother's Day. I know it's like really hard for my mom that she cannot just call her mother and like wish her all the best.
And if there's some Jehovah Witness watching this, they always say that, oh, we cannot celebrate holidays because they're pagans. But that's actually not entirely true, because a lot of holidays they don't celebrate is not pagan. Like you cannot celebrate Mother's Day because the pagans used to have mothers. That doesn't make any sense. I believe Jehovah Witnesses is a cult. And the reason why they don't celebrate things is just to separate family members. Because one thing is Christmas, you have some good arguments. Halloween, some good arguments. Birthday, really crappy arguments. But when it comes to Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, they
Mm.
have no arguments at all. It's just we cannot do anything together with our worldly family.
And
So
you
it's
know,
just an element of isolating people from their family.
it's actually, let's say I'm in another religion, and somebody who's Christian wishes me like Merry Christmas or whatever, and I just say thank you, and that's it. I'm not starting, but I don't celebrate this holiday because it's pagan, blah blah blah. They don't do it. They just say thank you and like think, okay, that's that person is a nice person. They care about me, and you don't start the whole discussion, and that's what they're doing. Like when my mom wishes them like Merry Christmas or whatever, they're like, what's going on? You cannot talk about it. This is a pagan holiday, blah 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 blah. And like, no, you don't have to do it. And the same, like, what's the point of, like, okay, you don't celebrate this Christmas, but the whole family celebrates, and it's the time we can meet up and be together. So just sit with those people. You don't have to attend like all the like things around it, but like just be with those people. It's like
Mm-hmm.
not gonna harm you, and they're gonna feel that you are family together.
Yeah. I think it's really when it comes to Christmas and birthday, you could argue from the Bible, you could that it's wrong, but then it just became like a way to separate people.
Yeah,
You
just
study
to
the Bible
show that you are
and you're
so
a Jehovah
different.
Witness, you should no longer have any association with worldly family. So that's why they also removed Thanksgiving. It's nothing wrong with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a good thing according to the
Mm.
Bible. So it's just, well, as witnesses, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Why? Well, because we don't want you to talk to your worldly family. So I would say Jehovah Witnesses do break up families.
Yeah, I would say too.
And you started studying when you were 13.
Yes.
And you studied how long?
It's lasted for a year, about, I
1 year.
think, 1 year, I believe,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit longer.
And that's the interesting thing because you're still thinking about it.
Yeah,
That's the that's the
that's a seed.
that's the evil thing about the Jehovah Witness religion. They really have a way to get it into your brain
And
so you won't get rid of it. I grew up with that bullshit, but she just studied 1 year
mm,
and still it's in the head. You can't just spit it out like a bad.
for a long time, actually, I was still like thinking, did I do right breaking up the study? Maybe they are right. Maybe I'm supposed to come back to it. It lasted for like more than a year. It lasted like 3-4 years, I believe.
Um,
So,
they also teach you to constantly doubt yourself.
yep.
I remember another guy who came here. He went to Kingdom Hall once, basically just because they offered him coffee. Uh, but what they started to recruit, the beginning of the conversation, they showed him a green book and say, "What color of this book is this on this book?" And he said, "Green." How can you know this is a green book? And that's the topic of discussion.
Seriously.
How can you know this is a green book? You say it's a green book. Everyone says, how can you? So they teach you. It's a manipulative religion. That's kind of extreme, but still, they teach you to constantly doubt yourself, but you're not allowed to doubt them.
Mm. Do you know, I contacted, by the way, fun fact, both of those boys I was first studying with are not Jehovah's Witnesses anymore. So at least that. And actually, I contacted one of them just to check out how they're doing. And
If you watch this video, leave a comment
if you are one of them, please comment.
and subscribe.
So, about not breaking families, like one of these guys' parents are still Jehovah's Witnesses, and they stopped contacting him at all. So if somebody tells you that it's not the case, it is the case.
So she's studying to be a doctor.
I'm done.
You're
I'm a
done.
doctor.
Okay, sorry. You are a doctor. Sorry. Okay, so she's a doctor, and we'll be talking about blood transfusions. So I have some ideas for how doctors can talk to witness because they have this defense mechanism. But all of this, you can walk around them and then it will just fall like dominoes. So we can make a video about that another time.
Yeah, please do it.
Because there are some techniques where you can just walk around them and if you know how to do it.
I actually tried to talk to my aunt about blood, but it's like no arguments are coming to her. She started to come with some bullshit arguments like, oh, but you can get HIV from blood transfusion, so that's for sure. For sure, it's not good. Yeah, it's like one chance in a million that you, or even less if I remember right. So it's not the case.
Yeah. No, they have like a list of arguments, blah 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 blah. So you cannot penetrate it, but you can walk around it. Every lock can be picked. So if you know it, so I think I'm gonna make a video about that. Several techniques how you can just walk verbally around them and pick down the whole argument. But why did you start watching apostate material in Norway?
Oh, it was like one day I was just going through YouTube, and it popped up a video about a girl whose name is Tyler. Maybe some of you have seen her videos, and she was telling a story how she was molested by his father, who was an elder. And,
In America.
Yeah, in America, and how all this ended up in a court, and how their brother.
Taylor Björndalen.
I don't know.
Okay, I think
Kanske. Maybe.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
I will find it for you afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, she removed all of her videos. So Tyler, if you're watching this, please share it again. I think it's very important, and the world gonna hear about it because it's an important voice you have in this one. So it shocked me, and then I started.
Because before that, you believe that Jehovah Witness. Well, you,
They
you
were
believe that they might be true, but
Yeah.
you also believe that if they're not true, it's just a harmless
Yeah,
religion.
just a harmless people who are walking
Nice,
from door to
deluded
door.
people.
Yeah, maybe I'm not agreeing with them, but they don't do any harm to anybody, so just let them be. But like more, I started to like dig in it. Then I came for John Cedar's videos,
Yay.
and
Never heard of him.
for sure. And then like some strange guy popped up on my list, so then I opened it, and I thought like, it looks like he might be like recording in Norway, and you actually uploaded like a location for one of your videos. So I checked on the map, and I was like, oh shit, it's just
We are neighbors.
Yeah, we're neighbors.
So when I want, if you ever disassociate, don't write a letter to the elders because
Write a letter to him.
the elders don't even read it. They just look through it very fast without checking anything. So don't write a big book of explaining why. It's better to write to the whole congregation, or what I did, go to the journalist. So I had a 5-page in the local newspaper about why Jonas leave the Jehovah Witnesses, and it's that journalist is her husband's godfather.
Exactly.
So we actually know. So I knew about her already because she used to be on my Facebook feed through him.
Seriously?
Yep. So I knew about you.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's interesting.
So she called me one day and asked if I was ex-Jehovah Witness. I said, yes, of course.
And then we started to talk, and like one day he asked, hey, you wanna come by and like
make an interview?
Yeah. So there I am.
Yes. So the.
So if you ever have child who starts to study with Jehovah's Witnesses, it's not the best thing just to tell them, hey, don't do it because it's bad, it's a cult, because they're not gonna listen to you. They are told that you're gonna one day come and tell them that. They are prepared for that. Yeah. Be like more.
Don't underestimate Jehovah. They are nice people, but they are also trained to be in a manipulative way, to study behind, not telling the parents all of it. Like and actually, we do undermine your authority from day one, because we tell them that family members might be persecuting you, family members might be taking you away from Satan. you can tell your parents about the Bible, but if they don't want to listen, well, maybe they don't really love you. If they want to hurt your relationship with Jehovah, maybe you should stay away. We are trained to be manipulative. I used to be that kind of guy because I thought it was the right thing to do.
But I think it's like even on the page one of
Don't
the
underestimate
No, don't
Jehovah
do it. Don't
Witnesses.
do
They are
it.
nice people, but they are toxic.
But
Sorry to say that.
but if you decide to like get your children away from it, don't do it like directly. Be more like go around, like show them movies about other cults and like maybe talk about other cults and what techniques they use, so they start associate like, hey, that's exactly what's going on. Then they're gonna realize themselves.
Because we teach people to not listen to anyone that say anything negative about Jehovah Witnesses. So the day when you realize that your child is on the way to slip into a cult, then it's too late. If you tell them Jehovah Witnesses are bad people, they just assume you are
Bad one.
Satan, you know?
You are the bad guy.
So you cannot do that at that point. What you can do, what you should have done, was to treat it as a problem earlier. But if you haven't done it, it's not too late. There's a trick. Watch documentaries about Scientology.
Or Mormonism.
Because when they watch about Scientology, they realize, oh, this is a cult.
Yep.
But they're exactly like the Witnesses. And then you watch a documentary about Mormons, and they say, oh, this is a cult. But they're exactly. So that's a way to go around
Yeah, don't
the
do
defense.
it directly.
But I'm ashamed to say this, but when I was a Jehovah Witness,
You would do
and
the
situations
same.
like this, first thing we did was when we were studying with a young person was to gently, little by little, undermining their parents and their family.
And like
Because I thought it was the right thing to do.
Like parents in general, talk with your children about how manipulation work, how manipulative people talk and behave, so they're gonna from the very beginning be like maybe say no from the day one, and then you're gonna not have that problem.
Yeah.
So don't avoid that topic. Don't think that it's not gonna happen to you, because it's not just Jehovah's Witnesses. There are other like cults and like destructive religions which can go to your child and come to your child and try to manipulate them. So don't avoid that topic.
No.
No.
And don't underestimate them. It's kind of embarrassing to say when I look back all the stuff I did that was manipulating, but in our mind, it's
You
like
were
a
doing
win-win
good.
situation. If you preach to your parents and they listen, you save their life. If they don't listen and we break up the family, oh, you got rid of terrible people, because if they don't want to be Jehovah Witnesses, they are bad people. So it's a win-win. Either you save their life and they become witnesses, or you get rid of them and we did you a favor. So it's it's embarrassing to say now, but I would
No.
back in the day probably done the same thing. Okay, your parents don't want you to study. Okay, we can arrange something behind their back. We can meet behind a dumpster and have a Bible study. We did stuff like that. And I'm a lonely person.
Our secret.
Yeah. No, it's weird. So, well, the lesson of today is don't underestimate it. You can say hello to mommy and daddy, say thank you.
Thank you, mommy and daddy, for taking me of the cult.
So, that's the lesson. So, no, this is a funny bit. It's the first time.
You're interviewing somebody on the channel?
No. But the first time subscriber found me and found a way here. So that's nice. We've been drinking coffee. So I hope more people will show up, and I hope you subscribe to my channel
and meet the goats.
Yes.
You can meet the goats. They're very cute. Do it.
The tower will fall when the ingathering of my 144,000 subscriber is complete. So, see you in paradise.
Subscribe.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.